Life is not easy. God doesn't say that. God says there's going to be trials and tribulations. God says there's going to be people out there who will deceive you. People out there, I mean, if we want to go back Old Testament, eye for an eye, Sodom and Gomorrah, turn to stone, man lays with a man, you die. I mean, this is all your personal choices. It's none of my business. I stay in my lane. Just don't come in my lane with your bullshit. I respect everyone until they disrespect me. I've been disrespected by so many people, so many times while I've had to sit here and take it. I'm gonna tell you right now, Charleston White, you think you're funny? We'll see who's laughing. Drew Anthony, you're a pussy and a coward, and you raised one. Kayla, you drunk bitch. What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My God, what kind of mother are you? Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened, how many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You're a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You're supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk. That's all you do. Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture.
Great. Sure knows that isn't.
You people hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Facts.
Let me make one up. Y'all can make let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you?
How's that one strike you? Watermelon Felon. Yep. Good morning. Roby's in the building. Morning, Roby. It's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a show I enjoy anyway. We're talking about finally. I don't know. I don't believe it. Like I said yesterday, I don't believe Trump is really gonna flip on Israel. I don't know. It is getting dangerous either way right now, though, right? So I don't know what Israel actually has on Trump that made him do all the stupid stuff he did so far, but now he's kind of like flipping out, throwing a tantrum, and then they're throwing a tantrum on his tantrum. So things are getting very interesting. We're going to take a look at that. What else? I want to take a look at Charleston White flipping. He was helping out the Carmelo Anthony family. He was backing them. According to the little that I heard, he found out that they might be all about the money. And now he's like, nah, I'm not with none of that. And now he has drawn up watermelon shirts because if you missed the opening, that was Austin Metcalf's father. The people are calling it a rant. I mean, his son died. I think the rant is justifiable. The idea of a rant. It's called a rant because a person could say anything, go off. And he says, yo, you want to go viral? Here goes one. You want some emotion? Watermelon Felon. So clearly that was a racial epithet. Charleston White got watermelon shirts printed up. He's no longer with the Carmelo Anthony family. See, this is what happens when you don't have the ability to really rightfully divide what's going on. You got to choose a side. And I know many of people. I know a lot of people, let's say that. I know a lot of people who's just taking the side of Carmelo Anthony just because he's black. My whole thing was, if you take the black out of it, right? He stabs another guy for the same damn reason. Is he justified? In my opinion, no. Let's just say that was another black guy. And he was in his tent. They asked him to leave several times. He wouldn't leave. Then the big black guy stood up and was like, listen, bro. You know what I'm saying? We told you to knock that shit off. Now, is there a problem? Because I would seem like it would seem to me like there's a problem, because we spoke to you several times before, but you on some knucklehead shit. I don't even know what's your angle, blood. What we doing here? Everybody knows if you F around, you're gonna find out. Everybody knows that by now. Now, black people saying this guy found out because he's dead. Or he assumed this guy wanted some old school fashion knuckle work, and instead he stabbed him in the heart prematurely. Judge Joe Brown says Carmelo Anthony is a coward. I see a lot of people in the comments talking about, what he was supposed to do. The other guy was way bigger than him. How about you don't instigate situations that you cannot clearly finish? How about that? How about that? Why would you start? Listen, I've been on this planet for close to 50 years. I don't go around starting shit that I know I can't finish. This is asinine. And you're going to have to learn this lesson one day. So he makes when I say a bad decision, a bad fucking decision all day long. Allegedly, my wife told me he wasn't even supposed to be at the fucking track meet. All day long, he's making bad decisions. Let me tell you something about making bad decisions. You will end up, and I'm writing a book on this, you will end up in a dimension that you wish. Let me tell you. Just take my advice. Knock it off. Because universal law doesn't care about who your grandmother was, if she's saying prayers. Nobody cares. The universal law doesn't care, I promise you. This is why in the Bible it says the blessings fall on the just as well as the unjust. What does that mean? They're talking about universal law here. If you follow the universal law, you could be an unjust person. And to us, objectively to us or subjectively, but to the universe, no, but they was following the laws. They was following the laws of finance. They was following the laws of just how to network, how to become a more noticeable person. There's certain laws that we have to teach our children. We'll talk about that whole situation with Charleston White and why he flipped on the Carmelo Anthony family today. The third thing I want to talk about is scientists. They're talking about the Y chromosome all of a sudden is falling. It just leaves the male. It just vanishes. The Y chromosome just vanishes. We're going to have a real interesting conversation when we get to that point. I assure you this. Hit the like button as you come in. You guys are on fire this morning. I wouldn't subscribe yet. I am a bit of an asshole. And just when you think, I like this guy, I'm going to say something to offend you. And then you're going to flip out. So don't save your subscription. Boof that shit. I don't care. Hit the like button, though. You understand? Leave a comment so we can get more people in here. And then the last thing I want to talk about, the very last thing, if you stay to the end, most people won't. We're going to talk more about these reptilians down here on this planet. That conversation is not for everybody, so I'll leave it to the end. However, there's a reason that's why chromosomes are falling off. It's not by accident. So, that being said, let's just start off with my homegirl, Kim Iverson. Oh, before we do that, let me put the chat over here. Give me 1 second. We're going to start. I need to know what is Israel up to now. I don't trust them. They've been sabotaging the same deal forever, right? As soon as they make a deal, they're still bombing Lebanon. They're doing like it just. They're not to be trusted in this deal. So I hope this deal is not predicated on whether they can keep their self-control. Because I can tell you right now, they cannot keep self-control. And they will do something, as they always have, to ruin this. Clearly, they don't care about the United States. Clearly, they have paid people, our politicians, to be suckers. And that's treasonous. And if I were you, I would look into if my representative has taken money from AIPAC. Because these people, in my opinion, first of all, a couple of things should not be able to happen. A few things, actually, as I think about it. One, I think it's a conflict of interest to take money from foreign nations. Like, what the F is that? And how are we subsidizing your existence? And you're going to give me money? It shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't be allowed. We need to knock that off. Second of all, dual citizenship should not be allowed. If you are a congressman, a senator, matter of fact, if you're just a government official, America has lost its way and lost its mind. Lost its mind. And thirdly, we have to stop the unlimited term limits for senators. That has to go. That has to go. You can't be a senator for a lifetime. Who thought of this jackass idea? Hit the like button. Because they're running around, running amok, fouling things up. And then all the attention goes to the president. Oh, the president. The president is not even writing these laws. He writes willy-nilly executive orders, yes. We'll get to it. Yeah, I don't care nothing about racial epithets. But I'm glad you guys are here. I'm definitely glad you guys are here. Where's my monitor? Are you serious right now? I don't know where my monitor is. All right. Let's do this another way. There we go.
Well, Israelis are having a complete meltdown over Donald Trump's memorandum of understanding with Iran. They want to see it. They are demanding to see it. They're not being allowed to see it. Trump has even reportedly denied Netanyahu and the Israeli security state from being able to see the memorandum of understanding that J.D. Vance says is already signed. It was signed electronically. It will be signed physically this Friday. And they say the deal is done and the Israelis were completely cut out of the deal. The Israelis are having...
I got a few people in the chat today. Could you guys possibly... I know you're upset about whatever you're upset about. As I'm looking at the comments, I see some racial epithets. I say, that's cool. I believe in the freedom of speech. You understand? So, and I'm not the one with the wrench. So, if the people with the wrench, if you start wilding out, the people with the wrench are just going to kick you out. I'm not offended by you using the N-word, and that is your right. If you want to call me whatever, that's your right to do so in this country. And I have a right to call you something if I choose to do so. So I believe in the right of free speech. However, getting past your immaturity, let's have a discussion on whether Israel should have been included in that conversation anyway. Do you believe that Israel should have been included in these conversations anyway? If you don't have time, put a 1 if you think we're only in this mess because of Israel in the first place. Put a 1 in the chat. It is crazy to me that we've gotten to the point where Israel, the size of New Jersey, you just got here in 1948. After skimming and scamming, and getting kicked out of countries for over 100 years, and lying and changing the definition of words and all type of meticulous, ridiculous, propagandizing, and it's just, I don't think you deserve a state. However, you got one, and you've proven me right. I don't think you deserved it because you're immature and you're a bunch of other things. And for you to think that you're our equal when you couldn't even exist without our subsidizing is nuts. And it really shows that there must be an agenda called the Greater Israel Project. There really must be. And you tried to fast track it, right? Because you felt like now's the time. And this is what I'm just thinking out loud, Israel. Just give me a moment to do that, please. Now's the time to do it because we got the puppet in there, right? He knows we have a picture of him, a copy of the picture, because Putin might have the original, allegedly. I don't know nothing about nothing. This is Mark Epstein running around telling everybody that Putin has a picture of Trump giving Bubba a BJ. Good Lord. What are you doing with your life? I don't know if it's true. This is coming from the Epstein boys. And to say there was some wild boys would be an understatement. However, I don't think Mark would have brought up a picture that he didn't hear was floating around. Huh? Do remember Meyer Lansky and Lucky Luciano. Now those were gangsters. I shit you not. One was a Jewish Russian. The other was an Italian. They weren't gangsters because they were Jewish or Russian or the Italian. That's not why they were gangsters. But Meyer Lansky had the way he thought. You see, You have some people on this planet who's just about violence first, like violence, and then that's supposed to the thing about that is if this is supposed to be about business, then all the unnecessary violence can just attract attention that you don't want or need. So there might have to be a better way to do business. Black people, hello, message, black people. But you weren't the first ones, black people, to choose violence first and think this was going to mean something. There once was a gang called the Purple Heart Gang in Detroit. And these were some Slavs. Not slobs, Slavs with a V. S-L-A-V. Slav. These were some Slavs that they were violent, Jack. Violent. But there was a Russian kid who he came from all that. He knew this all too well. A scrapper, if you will. Scrawny kid, but he's a scrapper and a fucking killer. As he got older, though, he decided, hey, there's a better way to do business. And if we're going to do business, then why the unnecessary? How about we try to do things without the violence first? If they don't get the picture, then, hey, we do what we do. They got this, who's this guy? He was the FBI director. To this day, no one knows if he had a 5% speck of Negro in him or anything. He in these pictures, he definitely looks Negro. He looks something. I don't know if this guy was mulatto or what the situation was. Anyway, he hated the Negroes. J. Edgar Hoover. He's a fairy. He was a queen. Yeah, him. Right? They find out he's a queen. He's a fairy. He's running around with Cardinal Spellman. Cardinal Spellman. A goddamn school is named after this fairy. Huh? Catholic Church, you gotta knock it off. You gotta knock that shit off, bro. You gotta You gotta rebrand that shit. You gotta start pushing marriage or something, bro. Friday nights with nuns, priest against nuns, one-on-one. You gotta think of something, because we can't have you doing this crazy shit. It's changing lives in ways we don't stand with you. However, J. Edgar Hoover's out here throwing parties with Cardinal Spellman, dressing up in women's attire. So what does Meyer Lansky do? He gets a picture. He bugs the room, for God's sake. Gets a picture of J. Edgar Hoover giving BJ's. Ouch. Right? So this tactic has been around for a while, is what I'm telling you. So I say that to say that it's not totally absurd that there would be a picture of Donald J. Trump floating around of him giving BJ's to Bubba. Bubba is Bill Clinton, the drug dealer from Arkansas, who helped bring in all of that cocaine that also messed up the United States. That's neither here nor there.
A freak out about this, not just the Israelis that are actual Israelis in Israel, but also the Israeli mouthpieces are completely melting down. Also, they're not only melting down over the memorandum of understanding, they're saying they feel totally and completely betrayed by Donald Trump, that he threw them under the bus when it comes to Iran and the war. And also some of the latest statements he's been making, including this one, where he says that he would rather Syria take care of Hezbollah and not Israel. And he says he thinks that Israel's essentially, he says they've been committing war crimes. Watch this.
Before we get into that, let me ask the chat. Are we going to acknowledge the fact that the United States helped create what is now known as Hezbollah? When we interfered in Iran's business decades ago, trying to overthrow their government? Or we're not gonna acknowledge that? We're gonna act like that didn't happen? Because there's a lot of talk about, oh, Hezbollah. Do you stand with Hezbollah? Remember October 7th. Stupid, you remember October 7th, stupid. You the one who caused. It's the same thing as Carmelo Anthony fucking around until he found out, right? Who wins? Okay, Austin is dead because your stupid ass killed him. Now you got 35 and people are like, yo, what was he supposed to do? He was supposed to act like a fucking civilized person and not be out here doing dumb shit. When you see that your actions are offending somebody, especially when you're in the wrong. Yo, he should have got an adult. Yo, shut the fuck up. Now you how many times you gonna move the goalposts? Yo, he should have got an adult. Which one is it? Nobody taught him, yo, don't offend people. You didn't learn that before you woke up and left the house this morning? You didn't learn, yo, don't offend people. You never learned, yo, read the room. I teach my daughter all that, yo, you gotta read the room, bro. You don't feel the energy? You don't hear the words? Can you leave the tent? Shit was totally escalated. Now he's got 35 years that black people can play. Yo, he got 35. That's fucked up. If he was white, yo, shut up. Fuck are you talking about? Let me tell you something. He's the same out-of-hand control motherfucker that would have stabbed your son at the fucking Dairy Queen for stepping on his sneakers. Same motherfucker. Right? You got to get that shit in check right now. Right now, today. So what? He was just supposed to, wait, what'd you say? Oh, he put his hands on your shoulders first? Oh, shit, you justified, baby. I didn't know. Why you didn't tell me that first? Why you didn't tell me he put his hands on your shoulders? Of course, you got to stab a motherfucker in the heart and twist the knife if he put his hands on your shoulders. You didn't tell me that. Man, take them cuffs off of him. That's an innocent man right there. I would not want to live in that civilization. That is fucking anarchy. Now you want to come with woulda, couldas, ifas. If it was a white boy. You gotta get your shit together. They in here today. They are in here today. These motherfuckers talk about everything today.
What are the expectations for Israel? Can this deal survive if Israel attacks Lebanon?
It can, and I consider that the minor war. Iran's the big one, but we have that the little pinprick out there that constantly rears its head, and that's Hezbollah. And
Donald J. Trump, knock that shit off, motherfucker. You got two types of white men on this planet. Actually, you have three. You have the white man who can make decisions. You have the white man who cannot make any fucking decisions. He's usually in the same boat as everybody else. And then you have the white man aspiring to get to the point to, hey, I want to make decisions too so I can affect people. However, do not be deceived. When you get to the elite in that category, those members are really controlled by bloodlines. Whether you want to believe me or not, you don't have to believe me. Of course, they have their minions, and they have people, and they have an extension of them, and they say, "Go out and do my bidding," right? So there was many people that was associated with the Wahlbergs, with the Rothschilds. Yeah, they was associated with them because they had you going out and doing their bidding. And you happen to be white. It's not the same thing. And this is where you would have to understand galactic history. And again, you don't even know that term, right? Because scientists, they won't even consider it. So you don't consider anything that there's no evidence that there's other species on this planet or species from other constellations. Yeah, you keep on listening to the science community. You keep it up. And they're going to 52 fake you out every last time, right? Now, these Khazarians are out here moving like real reptilians. I don't know. They could be, they could not be. I'm just saying what they moving like. Donald J. Trump has the character, the phenotypes of a Atlantean. Blonde hair, tall. Colored eyes. The one thing they suppress on this planet is galactic history, right? They give it. What they did was they summarized it in these religious books, and then they gave you the one book. So to them, hey, we told you about galactic history. We told you there was other beings from other planets, right? We told you in the beginning there was the Elohim and they created the heaven. We told you the story, right? We told you that we created the black people on this planet in Genesis 1:26. And the Elohim said, let us make man in our own image. It's going to be harder for you to understand the story if you don't start to understand galactic history. You got to understand different variations of humanoids on this planet right now as we speak, before they announce it, because they're going to announce it within the next 10 years. I promise you that. Then you're going to be like, oh, I was watching a show one time and the dude was saying exactly this, but you didn't hear me until the government, the same people that keep fucking lying to you in the first place. Remember, this is the same government that told you Oxycontin wasn't addictive. That's number one. I just want to remind you, before you choose not to listen to me and what I'm saying today and think what I'm saying is absurd, this is the same government where Nancy Reagan went on a rant about just say no, and her fucking husband and his constituents brung in all of the fucking drugs that she was telling you to say no to. And that was the gist of the advice. That was just it. That was all the advice. Hey, listen. This is your brain on drugs. Are you hungry? Huh? Do you see the X? Do I have to say anything else? questions? Got a ton of questions, you jackass. Maybe we might get into it soon. I'll go over the different variations of different humanoids down here on this planet. Atlanteans, Pleiadians, Lyrans. These are all humanoid species. Maldekians, Martians. They're not going to let you know this. Matter of fact, when the beings crashed here in the 50s, Roswell, they told you there was nothing to see here and it was just a weather balloon. And your stupid ass believed it. Yeah. You was like, oh, okay. I thought I seen something. Yeah, it was just a weather balloon. Oh, okay. Thank you. Rest in peace, Frank Olson. Now, let's carry on.
I was very responsible for Syria, and the man that's running Syria now is a person that I put there along with President Erdogan and some others. He's done an amazing job of pulling it together. He's not a Boy Scout, but he's done an amazing job of pulling it together. And he is very good with Hezbollah, does not like them. And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't.
This is an easy fix, Donald J. Trump. Stop trying to take over the fucking Levant, right? Stop trying to take over the Middle East. Enough of these fucking stupid ass games. Listen, I'm from New York. Huh? You know how much money I lost in 3-card Monty, stupid? Fuck you mean? I done lost shopping, school shopping money. Fucking around on Fordham Road, 3-card Monty. As a boy. I am a grown man. Craig. Falling for your shenanigans. Why are you acting like this is so complicated? You made a deal with Palestine to give Israel a piece of the land. You were supposed to give them some subsidies, and they would keep their word not to encroach outside of the area that they was given. That same year, they decided we were going to abandon the rules, and they started conflict. That same fucking year. So, you have not kept your word to protect the Palestinians. You say you was going to give these people a land. They don't deserve a fucking land. They didn't deserve shit when they was Khazarians. And the Muslims and the Christians had to threaten them because they were wild fucking vigilantes. And they made King Bulan choose a religion, or we could waste your stupid ass right here. Because y'all are some heathens if I've ever saw any. Now please get back to me and tell us which religion you will choose. And in fact, these Khazarians, they were smart asses. They say, you know what? If your religion arrived from the Jews and your religion arrived from the Jews, then why the fuck would I choose any? And I am all for that logic. That makes perfect sense. So we know we're not dealing with dummies. They may have been hooligans, but they were not stupid. They said, we will embrace the original plagiarized religion. And they went with Judaism. They went with Judaism. And they went a little bit too far, right? And then now they're saying, no, we are the original Jews. You are not the original Hebrews. I can assure you this. You are the Heiko's Habaru? Shit. Anyway, they are a fascinating people to be studied. You got to give them that. They're crazy, but they are definitely fascinating. Their ability to create a code that all of them follow and keep the same narrative. And it's not like they say in complacent, like the same status, like black people, right? I'm starting to get pissed off with us because we have to raise our code of morality and ethics and civility amongst ourselves. We have to raise. I see the super chat. Give me 1 second. Casual love joy. We have to raise first with ourselves. The expectations amongst ourselves have to be, it cannot stay the same. We normalize violence amongst ourselves and then want sympathy from other fucking groups that sit there and everybody got eyes. Y'all know everybody can see us, right? Like everybody can see us. The fuck is the use of so many goddamn churches in a neighborhood if they don't affect you? Too scared to even talk to the people outside that's causing this fucking ruckus. We too scared. Give me a second, Lovejoy. Thank you for the donation of $2. We too scared to even look, band together and boycott the people that is perpetuating this image of us that makes the kids say, yeah, that's who I want to be. Let me get the Lovejoy. She gave another $2. She's out here giving $2. Hold on. All right, let me get the Lovejoy. Winter, I see you. See you, Winter. And let me address the family. Shout out to Uncle Andy's in the building. Winter Rising is in the building. Roby has been in the building. AKA, I think it's Motto or Motto. Bear Spirit. B Dolo's in the building. Salute. All right. He says, do you know who the Khazarians are? The Khazarians are the citizens of the members of the nation of Khazaria. Does it get deeper than that? Does it get deeper than that? How far do we have to go? You want to get deeper than that? I think I thought that's where you was going, Yankee. I didn't want to go too far. I thought that's where you was going. I thought that's where you were going. And I almost said it and I said, no, let me not. He's probably not talking about that. Right? Because the Phoenicians did travel by sea. And some say they even made their way to Europe. They did. I was reading a book by, I think his name is L.L. Westcott. Yes, Yankee Wood. Well, that's what I was saying, Yankee Wood. That's what I was saying. They were ran out of Khazar because they were considered, vigilantes. No. They're not now nomads. No. That part is not true. We've done the research. So it's not like now all of them are nomads. They migrated to the north. Yes. But that took some time before we know they're in Israel now. But before that, it took some time, right? This is when you get the Balfour Declaration, and there was a few steps, and I think Israel's first president was a Polish guy, right? So it was definitely a few steps before they ended up in Israel, and that's why I just kind of summarized everything and said, you guys don't even deserve your own land, because if you do the history of you guys, no one trusted you from Jump Street. But you kept on pushing, and you were political, and that was my point. How does the people go from being savages to the top lawyers, right? Let's just slow the conversation down. If you look at the network of these people, it's nothing shabby at all. So I say in all sincerity, they are a people to be examined. Especially if you're on the lower realm of the status hierarchy. Black people. I dare say Mexicans are higher than black people at this point. And that's no slight to the Mexican community. When I say black people, I am talking about the black American. Let's get it fucking straight, right? I have African friends. Before they even get here, they're told to stay away from the fucking black American. They don't listen because the black American has a cool status, right? But to me, this cool status could turn into some jester shit real quick, right? Like, we know for being cool. Oh, he wears the sneakers with no laces. Oh, shit. Got on the shades like a fucking character in a advertising billboard. Like a cool-ass cat with shades and big-ass sneakers. And if I'm not getting nothing else out the deal, but someone slapping me five sarcastically and mocking like, hey, bro. And then they're going off to do real business and they won't show me how to do that real business. Then nigga, I'm a clown. Fuck you mean? I'm a fucking jester. And I'm not okay with that. Now, when I go to the other black people and I say, yo, bro, this country does not operate on how we wish it to operate. It operates on how it operates. So when I say that, I mean, you may want to talk jive talk and slang talk all day long, but that is not how everyone else is actually conducting business. So when you show up and show everybody I'm a bad mother, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm black American, yeah. Motherfucker, I wish a nigga would. Yeah, no one's fucking taking you serious, bro. This is what I'm telling you. No one. And guess what? You're not going to win by crashing out. I don't know what this new shit is where, well, I'm going to just crash out until they believe me. No, you're going to crash out until they throw your ass in jail for 35 years. That's what you're going to do. Sit your ass down for 35 years for thinking crashing out was the way. It's not. And we have to accept this land that we're in is not going to operate on how we wish it to operate and been to us. So what we have to do is what these Khazarians did, which is when they went into Upper Europe, do you know the guilds were prejudiced against them? Yankee Ward, you know about this? Talk to me, Yankee. Yankee's been out here reading books. Yankee said we got off track. We back now, Yankee. Do you know about when the Khazarians went into Europe and the guilds blackballed the Khazarians? By this point, they were mainly Jewish, and they were blackballed. So you know what they did? They created a way for themselves, and they seen that at this point in time, people that came to visit would have to exchange money, but there was no real place for people to exchange the money. So they became known as the money changers. If you came from somewhere else, I'll give you the value for this, and now you can spend your money here. These are the money changers. So what they did was they took a situation where people were trying to deny them, and they turned it into something, an opportunity. Black people don't get that. They don't ever get. Everyone's listening to your music. Everyone's watching you. You don't never have a chance to band together and say, yo, let's stick together and make some. If you did, they can't kill all of y'all. All they could do is threaten some of y'all and kill some of us too. But not all of us. But you're not willing. It's always going to be a sellout motherfucker. And this is what I'm telling you. Them, they stand on cold. They're crashing a different way. So anyway, let me go back to the history of them starting to deal with the money. Being that they started to build a reputation in this area, that led to new opportunities of them collecting taxes, this, that, and the third. And they just paid attention to how things worked. Realized, okay, there's a certain amount of money that stays here. We can lend this money out and get the return on the interest of that money before anybody even knows that the actual fucking money is gone, like was ever lent out or missing. They are a people to be studied. However, they still they are who they are. It's in their blood. And I don't know if that changes. They've been getting kicked out of countries for 1,000 years. You understand? So they're going to remain who they. All I'm saying is they built themselves up to become the top doctor. They got all the hospitals of some Jewish name. Beth Israel. Mount Sinai. Right? You looking for a lawyer? You say, I need a good lawyer. You trust in the first Jewish name you hear. Yeah, give me him.
You don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah, because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it.
Is that on board?
And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut. It was right in. It wasn't like in the southern side, and it was in Beirut. I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together.
Yes, I'll give you one right now. Casual Joy, Love Joy. I think it's called the 13th Warrior. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me just look. Joy wants to. a recommendation for the topic that we're on right now. And I think it's called The 13th Warrior. 13th. The 13th Warrior book? I'll find it for you. The 13th Tribe. The 13th Tribe. 13th Tribe. By, I'm going to tell you the author's name right now. Arthur Koester. And let's see if I can get. Yep. I'll pull it up. Give me a second. Got the book right here. Yep. All right. So let me just show you that real quick. That's how the book looks. Right there. All right. Author Koestler. The Khazar Empire and its Heritage. The 13th Tribe. And there you go. Now let me get back to our regular broadcast system.
They're amazingly quickly. He's very capable. And he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for. He's done. And if Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job.
Oh, boy. Have you noticed how the billionaire class always does this? They spend years telling us ordinary people something is dangerous or stupid or reckless.
Wait a minute, Kim, you got commercials now? Hold on, Kim. I can't do your commercials, baby girl. I would love to. You know I'll support, but I can't right now. I got a whole live situation going on. And by the way, we got a few people in the building. Hit the like button when you come in. Let me read some of your comments. Dee Dee says, that's a policy and policies are not laws. Yankee says, I'm not saying all Amish are Khazarians because Yankee is kind of stuck on the Amish. What did the Amish do to you, blood? Because they are not. In fact, few pretend the Amish mostly hide in the Jewish community. I don't know. I don't have a problem with the Amish. I'm going to keep it real with you. I don't live far from the Amish. I've never had a problem with the Amish. They make good apple butter sauce, amongst other things. Yo Ryken says the United States protects Amish religion and they are not legally required to have any bit of electricity. They could have zero power if they wanted, but most opt for alternate power sources anyway. Thanks for bringing that up, Yo Ryken, because thanks for bringing that up because I'm actually about to buy a book. What is this book called? Here go right here. Here we go right here. Thank you for bringing that up. Ordell's New Electric Library. And you're welcome. And you're welcome. Hurry up and get it. Ordell's AUDELS New Electric Library. Now, I think this book was released in 1929. So, I'm not only buying this book, I'm buying the Carpenter's book. you would do yourself, if you can get your hands on it, good to get this book. And it teaches you how to create electricity. Now, I'm not yelling fire in a crowded stadium. I'm not going to do that. If you have 2 eyes and 2 ears, you can see what's going on. You can see what's going on. And clearly, the warnings of Robert Welch in his 1950s speech at the John Birch Society were accurate when he said the United States has an aim of devaluing the money. You want to hear that speech? You want to hear that speech? Robert Welch speech. Hold on. They dinged me last time for playing the music. So we're not going to play the music. Yeah, they dinged me. And took all the money from the video. And it was like, oh, you can't get monetized for this video because of this. And I'm like, because of what? And it was the stupid ass song. The following presentation was assembled from Mr. Welch's 2 speeches at the John Birch Society Council dinner in Los Angeles, March 9th, 1974. Well, the dates keep changing. Before it was the 50s. And I don't think this doesn't look like 1974 footage. It's not. It's 1958. What's with this stupid shit? 1974. All right, it says, in his first speech, Mr. Welch quotes from himself from the 1958 John Birch Society founding meeting about the insiders' long-range plans. About the long-range plans. You understand? So this is, never mind 1974. That I don't know who's giving out misinformation and disinformation. But this is 1958. This is Robert Welch, the founder of Welch's Grape Juice. Him and his buddies having a dinner to get down to the nitty gritty of what's happening in this country. And by the way, Fred Koch, father of David and Charles Koch, the Koch brothers, was also part of the John Birch Society. Hit the goddamn like button. Come over here soaking up all the information, then run off somewhere. And you can hit the subscribe button while you're there. What are you doing?
A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty.
There you go. He starts off kicking knowledge out the gate. TX Ghost, what's good? Good morning. Yes, the deep state. So, this deep state has been in existence for a while. It's just that the FBI had came out with words like conspiracy theory to make people feel like if you say these words, then you're a crackpot. But that's part of Edward Benet's teaching, right? It's a little bit of Edward Benet's mixed with this Stanley Milgram experiment. It's a little bit of both. It's about listening to the guy in the white coat, because the guy in the white coat is always right. And as long as I say, hey, I listen to the guy in the white coat, then you can't go wrong. Right? Because it's the guy in the white coat. So there were two other people in history who warned us of the deep state. That was, I believe, Dwight Eisenhower. I believe it was him. You could correct me, when he said, we should not privatize the military. Clearly, we did not listen to those instructions, no matter who said it. We did not listen to that advice. We did end up privatizing the military, and we are in. That's how we end up in stupid ass wars, because we're funding these people's lifestyles. And the other person who got his brains blown out for it was JFK. He spoke against secret societies, and he wasn't necessarily talking about the Masons. He was talking about the deep state. So, this I don't want to say mutiny, because that's a word reserved for the waters. But this treasonous invasion of people that have been trying to take over America from the inside out has been happening for a while and has been noticed. So when Donald J. Trump first ran and he said, we're going to drain the swamp, it was refreshing to most of us, because we said, wait a minute, I knew he wasn't crazy. We weren't allowed to talk about Operation Mockingbird. All of these things were conspiracies until they couldn't do the conspiracy anymore. They couldn't play that same game. And as things became declassified, it was like, wait a minute, y'all really been up to no good. Operation Northwoods, false flag suggestions that we kill our own soldiers so that we have the backing and support of the American citizens and Congress to go to war and spend money on death. These things really happen. None of these things are conspiracies. Mockingbird is definitely still going on.
Of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. Now, here are the aims for the United States. 1, greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money.
He said this in 1958. There's no way you can sit here and listen to this and you be confused after looking at what we spend money on. I'm an expert in what I'm an expert in, right? So I went to school for computers, anyway, my master's, and I did change it around a couple of times. First I chose IT, then I chose, as I'm finishing, I was like, maybe I should go into CS. CS was way more coded, concentrated, so I was like, nah, I don't got time for this shit. I barely understand what's going on. Let me change it to something more moderate that I could understand. So I changed it to information systems. That was the right call, because I still have to learn code, but the majority of my classes are not. I just had one Java course that I had to focus on. I didn't have to take Java 2. CS, I got to take Java 2. Java 1 is kicking my ass. Why would I take Java 2? Then I'm taking databases. So I still have to take all of those things, but with information systems, I was introduced to project management, and I took that course, and then I got certified in PM. And then I went into the IT world working as all type of different stuff. Cognitive engineer, project manager, blah, blah, blah. IT manager. So, we are experts in what we are experts in. But I'm not an expert in political science. So when I may ask a question, even though I know I have the logic and the rationale, and when you give me the answer, I'm figuring that you are the man in the white coat, and I have to listen to you. So if I say, why are we giving all this money to Poland anyway? I mean, not Poland, Ukraine. Why are we giving all this money to Ukraine? And then the politically science answer that's given back is like, hey, we do business with them. They give us wheat. My first thought is like, yo, why can't we get wheat from our own fucking land? You know how much land we got here that we're not using? So I don't think we're doing this right. Something tells me we're not doing it. But I'm not an expert, so I actually, at first, really believe, like, you gotta listen to the guy in the white coat, because you are not a political science major. So he knows what he's talking about. If he says we gotta give money to Ukraine, there must be a rational reason why we have to give millions of dollars to Ukraine. But I cannot pretend to be naive. Especially when Tulsi Gabbard just announced that we have been running secret biolabs all through the world, including Ukraine. So therefore, you haven't been telling us the truth. Once I see holes poked in what you've been telling me, now I have to take into consideration you could be a liar. My government could be lying to me. Would this be the first time? No. But you don't want to live in a world where you're always thinking your government is lying to you, right? Because it warps your perception. You don't want to do that. You got it, Casual Lovejoy. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. So the name of my channel was Society Past, Present, and Future. And I do talk about things in the past because it'll help us understand where we are now. And when you understand the past and the present, you got a good idea of where we're headed. So again, I don't need to yell fire in a crowded stadium. You know why? Because of the past videos like this, lectures like this that Robert Welch is giving right now. He told me what they were going to do, and damn it, they're doing it. 70 years later, they're doing it. We got Huey in the building.
For every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2, higher and then much higher taxes. 3, an increasingly unbalanced budget.
An increasingly unbalanced budget. An increasingly unbalanced budget. To this day, people take up for the Pentagon and say, oh, they do get audited. Is that a true audit? Since the moment you were conceived, the department, you have not had a true audit where the itemized spending has been audited and presented transparently back to the people. And they barely did it just a year ago. What was it, a year? Within the last 2 years, they did a partial transparent audit where they blacked out a lot of stuff. That's why I say it's partial. But the stuff they did reveal and said, well, we're spending this. Okay, well, thank you. You know what I did. I went right through the itemization. Thank you very much, sir. Let me see what we're spending money on. Huh? I'm no idiot. I'm looking at the weapons we're spending money. Does it cost this much to make these machines? Or are all these numbers inflated? Having government contracts, I can tell you for a fact the numbers are inflated. I've been a contractor and I've been forced to have to charge $350 an hour on something I would usually charge $65 an hour on. So if I'm on the lower scale of things and I have to charge, they basically are telling me in their best way, right? They said, what do you charge? Before I even get a chance to answer, they said, let me help you out. Here's what our contractors have charged in the past. So I'm thinking right away, oh, they're going to try to lowball me. No. On the contrary, men fear. On the contrary, my good man. I don't want you to tell me some silly shit like $65 an hour. That's not what we're doing here. So I look down at the numbers like, God damn, what? But I say it to myself. This is the type of mismanagement that we have been dealing with for a long time. Almost a century, or more than a century in America. So we have been immature. We have been reckless. And we're going to lose this country if we don't band together and stop listening to these treasonous people. You know what govern means? It means to stare. It means to stare. These people are staring us in the wrong damn direction. So we're not the treasonous ones. And I know your first instinct is you feel treasonous talking against your government. Let me just help you out with your conscience real quick. They're staring you in the wrong fucking direction, bro. You're asking nicely, can you please take me to the light? And they say, yeah, I'll take you to the light. You want to go to the light? They're going to take you to a boat that's going to go to fucking Epstein Island. That's where they're going to take you. You want to go to the light? Hey, come with me. You better trust your intuition. That's sixth sense. Oh, no, thank you. This feels like a bad episode of Different Strokes all over again. Remember when Dudley got caught with his shirt off in the back of the biker's office? Ah! Traumatizing. Fucking nightmares. For years. I'm thinking, what the fuck happened to Dudley? Is he okay? Arnold, what happened? Arnold got the fuck up out of there. He followed his sixth sense. Nate says, 1-bedroom condos go for $300K in DC. Yo, Nate, do you know? Yo, Nate, here go to Edward Bernays. Check this one out, Nate. They used in the Edward Bernays. They turn a bad situation into, they present it as a good education. So when I looked into these they got these things called micro apartments in New York City, right, Nate? So I looked into the micro apartments. Okay, let's get you. Yo, they are so crafty with their advertising and marketing. It said, I'm gonna paraphrase a tiny bit. It said, don't miss out on this opportunity to experience New York like you've never experienced it before. I mean, these are chic apartments. Basically, they're small apartments where people have to share these small living quarters. But they're saying because you're in New York, at least you had the opportunity to experience New York with 20 other people in the apartment. And they make it seem like you're the cool one. I say, God damn, that's diabolical. That's diabolical. And some people gonna go for it. Yeah, you know I'm living down on Houston now, right? You don't live alone. Not only do you not live alone, I'd rather you live with your mother and your father. You live with 20 strangers. Standing room only. Are you seriously out here at the bar trying to knock boots with a chick? Knowing you live in standing room? She's gonna catch a cramp. You don't have insurance? That apartment is too small. What are you doing? It's crazy. Stella says it makes no sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. And now they're charging? Look, Stella, look at this. If you want to go past, what is it? I forget the street. But if you want to go into like the Chelsea area of New York City, right? Many people are not from New York, but you guys kind of know of New York. So let's just say the further you go down 9-8 to hit the bottom of New York, right? Which is like South Street Seaport, right? If you're coming down the West Side Highway, or if you're coming down the FDR. If you go too far, there's a toll. Now, some people say, oh, you don't think of it as nothing, but you're not seeing the plan because they stagger out the plan. So they don't let the plan out right. They don't do it all in one motion. They do it so you can never see it. They're going to set this one here, and then 5 years later, they're going to do something different. They're going to add on to it, right? Progressively. So they add these tolls. Do you know what they're doing? They're silently setting up a smart city, and you don't even see it. So New York City doesn't have to announce the smart city like LA did. LA got crazy, burnt down the city. Let me say allegedly. Let me just say that so I could be a responsible content creator. Air quotes, they allegedly burnt down LA with the lasers. Was that too much conspiracy theory? Or would you rather believe a crackhead set LA on fire with a lighter? Whatever you want to believe. If you like it, I love it. Right? They tested this out in Hawaii. Allegedly. Let me say allegedly. That was a travesty. A travesty. So there are some cities, and LA had already announced that they're bringing a smart city to the area. Let me tell you something about these smart cities. You guys are not ready at all. We did all this critiquing of China and making fun of China. Meanwhile, China is way ahead of the game. So they're already conditioned to the surveillance and the social scores, and we are going to have a hard time adjusting to it. And I don't think you can change it. I'm not telling you this because I think you're going to do something to change what's coming down the pipeline. I don't think you could do a damn thing. I'm really telling you these things so that you could prepare either your mental, your emotions, your physical, whatever you need to do to adjust to what's coming down the pipeline, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop unless we all together, band together, and do something. And when I say all, I mean all of us. It doesn't matter if you're white or black. But see, the mainstream media, they keep using these talking points that they know are going to trigger white people, black people against each other. They keep doing this, and they're doing it on purpose. There's no reason for that Carmelo Anthony story to even have reached national status. That was like, what the fuck? This shit happens all the time. Why are you telling me this now and putting it in my face? Why are you telling me about the Vietnamese guy that shot the black kid? This happens all the fucking time, and worse happens, and you never tell me about it. Never. You know how many cop friends I have and FBI in it, and some of the stuff they tell me? I have a detective friend who told me, oh yeah, they found somebody's head in the fucking freezer over there. I was like, right there? I was like, yeah. Like 2 weeks ago. Zippity doo-dah, zippity day. I didn't hear a word about that shit. They're finding that all type of crazy businesses happen. They don't say a word. They don't say a word because Operation Mockingbird, right? The channels of information are controlled. We have to know that. I'm surprised they even let you on my show this morning. I'm very surprised. They know my shenanigans. So for them that even allowed you over here to hear my rhetoric and spiel is asinine to me, because they know what I'm going to say. Let's finish listening to John Birch.
Despite the higher taxes. 4, wild inflation of our currency. 5, government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation.
Now, when he said that right there, you may not understand, but farmers were told not to grow certain things because the farmers were selling them at a certain price, and it was throwing off the markets. So, what did we do? We told farmers not to grow, and we'll give you money. We don't know what the fuck we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Then that turned into a big thing. Then, this is around the same time that they started to experiment with splicing genes, started fucking around with the corn, find out that it can make a hybrid corn. Right? The corn, amongst other different uses of the corn, they found they can actually make a synthetic sweetener. We use it today. It's called high fructose corn syrup. This is what's giving you inflammation. This is what's giving you chronic disease. Because it's in every goddamn thing. Why is it in every goddamn thing? Because once they told the farmers, hey, don't grow shit, they actually came back and said, oh, you know what? There is something you can grow that we will pay you for. We'll pay you for, if you grow high fructose corn syrup, we'll pay you for that. Right? So this was able to stop the banana wars down when the fucking capitalists were using their money to control our government, and we was going to war in other countries for fucking fruit companies. We've lost our rabbit ass mind. We've been lost our rabbit ass mind. So, now that the government is subsidizing and paying for all this goddamn high fructose corn syrup, well, really the corn that they're using for high fructose corn syrup, because instead of going to war for sugar cane, we created our own synthetic and said, y'all can keep your bullshit sugar cane. Now we're going to drive down the price of your stupid ass sugar cane, and we got another synthetic. Now, if we're making money off of this sweetener, do you think they just going to let you know the adverse effects of these sweeteners? No. Why do you think everybody is so obese? Did you look in the back of, just look, the amount of things you eat, just count how many times you read corn starch, corn syrup. Just count. the doctors in this country are educated in a way that prioritize symptoms over the root cause illness. I'm just telling you the truth today. You don't got to believe a word I say. I can guarantee you I know what I'm talking about, though. Because the same way I told Casual Lovejoy about a book on the Khazarians that I read, I also read a book called Rockefeller Medicine Men. Medicine and Capitalism in America. Rockefeller, hit the goddamn like button. Yeah. I don't know why they let you over here today, but I'm going to take advantage of it. They know what I do. To even let you over here was stupid. So, this book tells us about how the education framework was created in the United States using philanthropy and scientific medicine, ideology of professional uplift. That's a scientific medicine. You got to read this book. You have to read this book. It will give you perspective. Like I said, past, present, future. It will give you perspective of what happened in the past. You will now know why we're here, where we are. And there's only one place we could go. There's only so much unnecessary preservatives and chemicals that you could take in your food before you drop dead at the age of fucking 38. Fucking, you shitting me? Meanwhile, they're going to act like, I don't know what happened. Right? But I don't know what happened, but I have a drug for it. You know what me and my wife do? We love the medication commercials now. We just wait for the side effect. That's all we do. We sat in bed last night as we were watching different shows together. And that commercial came on. And we were cracking up at the adverse effects. Silly shit. Like, why would I take something that's going to give me warts around my anus and my genitals? I've never heard of such ridiculous adverse effects. And death is always involved. But the way they package it, huh? Didi says, what did Trump admit to be wrong about? He admitted a lot of stuff, but then he turned his back on everything he said. He said he was going to make America great again. You can't make America great again and make Israel great again at the same time. Right? If you run around calling everybody the GOAT, yo, you the GOAT, but he's the GOAT too, and he's the GOAT. LeBron James and Michael Jordan can't both be the GOAT. The GOAT means the greatest of all time. How are both of y'all going to be the greatest of all time? It could only be one GOAT. So if you're telling me, hey man, I'm going to make America great again. But hold that thought. Put a pin in that. I hear you. And then you going off giving all the resources to Israel. Anything they say, you do. They putting us in bad situations. We have enough problems. When I tell you we have enough problems, ladies and gentlemen, I mean we have enough problems. Like, I am far off the beaten path of this show right now. But I'm going to continue traveling off the beaten path because we haven't even dealt with the fact that we have to deal with automation and artificial intelligence that are going to be competing for human jobs. And no, before you say, oh, we're far off from that. First of all, if we were far off from that, your government would have not lied to you about 911,000 jobs. 911,000 jobs. That's $1 million. That's $1 million jobs if you round off. Last October, they admitted that they misquoted 911,000. If I'm saying that right. So 900,000, but it was really 911,000. They misquoted. Meaning, the government comes out with a report every year and say, hey, this is how many jobs we reported. Every month, not every year. They come out with the report every month. So what they were doing was they were coming out with a report and they would say, we created 90,000 jobs this month. And then the next month they would silently be like, oh, that was a mistake. So really we only came out with 10,000 jobs this month. We only made 10,000 jobs. So what people were doing, people are investing based off of the information they're getting. Right? People are making decisions based off the information they're given. Let me just end Instagram because the battery's dying and I don't feel like going to get a charger. All right, Instagram is ended. So I knew this, and the members of my audience knew this. And then they knew this for 2 years. I was announcing this. How did I know this? There's an economist by the name of Peter Schiff that I listened to. He taught me this. I went to go investigate, and sure enough, I'm going to call it lying. The American government was lying because if you did it once, it's a mistake. You're doing it every month for whatever reason. Then it hits a point where you're just like, all right, let's just accumulate all these numbers and say it was a mistake. And now that's not a fucking mistake, my boy. You made a conscious decision to allow, and how are we a great government if we can't fix small things like our analysts coming up with incorrect numbers? What are you talking about? Aren't we the nation with the whiz kids in the Pentagon? The same Pentagon that doesn't give a transparent audit? I mean, we are way off the beaten path, ladies and gentlemen. Way off the beaten path.
6, greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied naturally and automatically by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our...
Paul says, government spends billions on homeless. Why is it getting worse? Mayor Karen asks. So, the thing about it is, if you actually fix the problem, let me teach you something. I don't know if Paul was saying if there's actually a Mayor Karen or if he was calling me a Karen. Paul, first tell me this, Paul, so I know how to address you. Were you calling me a Karen? A lot of times I go off on my the people in the chat, they were like, no, I'm with you, bro. So I said, okay. Paul, were you calling me a Karen? Just let me know. No? Okay, cool. I can get sarcastic. It's no fun for anybody when I get sarcastic. And I didn't want to offend you. That's why I asked. And reading things, a lot of times you lose context in reading things, and you're like, I may read it like, yo, he's attacking me, and then that's not been the case. Several times I've offended people because I read it the wrong way. So that being said, Paul was not offending me. He wasn't trying to offend me. He was stating something that's clear. Now I want to explain to Paul why homelessness is not getting better, and I want to use the 1965 Law Assistance Enforcement Act. Law Enforcement Assistance Act. Law Enforcement Assistance Act. LEA. Yep. It's LEA. Law Enforcement Assistance Act. 1965, I think maybe 64, 65. Now, listen up, Paul. This is going to give you the answer. When they first, this is the law. This is actually the law that made all the local police departments a fraternity. Because this is the first year that the federal government said, yo, we're going to give out money to all the local police stations. This having been precedent, the police departments all across America applied for the grant. They got the money, and they did exactly what they thought. They thought the government wanted them to do with the money, which was reduce crime. That's what they did. New York being one of them. They got the money. They reduced crime. The next year, when the grant was given back out, they ran back to the government with bells on, happy, totally ignorant to what they was falling into, and say, look, we lowered our numbers. And you know what the government said? Oh, so you don't need as much money. They said, what? Yeah, your crime went down. So we'll give you less or we'll give you nothing. Thank you. And I said good day, sir. No, wait, I said good day. Close the door on the way up. Bang. Well, goddamn. You know what they did the next year, Paul? You know what happened to those numbers? I give you one guess what happened to those numbers next year, Paul. Them numbers shot the fuck back up. Crime went crazy in the city, Gotham City. They went back for the grant. They got the money. Oh, your crime is back up. Okay. And it's at this point, Paul, that the quota was invented. And this is why the captains are being heard to be said, well, there's crime somewhere. You're just not doing your goddamn job. Somebody's breaking the law somewhere. Right? So now we have regular civilians when they not on the clock, but once they go on the clock, they are forced to commit treason against someone who was just a peer 5 minutes ago before they clocked in. Now they clocked in and they're being told by their supervisor, there's crime somewhere, baby. I don't give a fuck if he spit gum on the street. Ticket. Huh? That light is red. He steps a foot off that curb, jaywalking. We need the metrics. No seatbelt. We need the metrics. Oh, seatbelts are saving lives. Oh my God. Now all of a sudden they give a fuck. These are the same people that told us out, drink it to your heart's content with the alcohol. But you care that I wear a seatbelt? What are we talking about? So to get back to Paul's comment about homelessness, my point is this. They cannot eradicate. They're going to give the money for homelessness. But if they got rid of homelessness, somebody's not going to get paid. Whoever has the contract is not going to get that money. And I can guarantee you if the mayor's office is getting that money, I can guarantee you that money's not only being spent on that. You run through these books, and these people are spending money all type of crisscross ways. Shit is getting spent. Money's being spent on things that shouldn't be spent on. And guess what? This is culture now. So it's not up to one mayor to come in and say, oh, well, I want to fix it. He could do that. You know how big that project is going to be? And you know how many people on the inside are going to sabotage that shit? Because I'm talking about experience. I've already dealt with this. So I know exactly what's going on in these municipalities. They don't want to change shit because people are getting quiet money under the table. And that's the reason that they don't go off and move to another neighborhood where they could live easily and lavish. But they stay there because I'm going to get this money right here and be quiet and suck it all up until it's no more. And then I'm going to vanish in the midnight hour.
Domestic government. 7, far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8, the steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education. 9, a constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace. Peace always on communist terms, of course.
All right. That was John Welch. You can go look that video up on your own time. I want to get back. We got to keep the show moving here. Keep the show moving here. Because I got so many different things to talk about. Do hit the like button right here. I don't know why YouTube is being nice today. They let more than enough people in this morning. Remember to hit the like button. Do leave a comment as well. All right. I want to. Let's just see where else Kim Iverson goes with this story about Trump flipping out on Israel and how Israel is taking it. Because I don't even think she's gotten to that part, what Israel is doing yet. And then we'll move on to our next story.
I think would actually get me removed from air, so I shouldn't say it, but let's just say I hope Trump lives a long life. You know, he seems to be in good health. I should say that. He seems to be in good health. He is 80, just turned 80 the other day, but he seems to be in really good health. And I think that...
So I get what she's saying. She's saying now that he's doing this... Here's the thing, Kim. I don't think they're going to come for... I don't think they're going to kill him. Right? Because I think that would be too bold. Even though I don't put anything past Israel. I don't. They like I said before, they haven't just become savages. They've been, if you trace their lineage, they've been savages for quite some time, which is why they were forced to get religion in the first goddamn place, because they were savages. These are not the original Hebrews. Don't pay attention to anything they're talking about. Like they are not related to the people of Judea at all. Yo, this effing guy, thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for the support. And you have a great week as well, brother. However, they are a wild bunch, so they could come after somebody else. They could wait. Who knows? All I know is, and then there's another scenario where this could be Trump has fooled us before. Right? He seemed sincere. Yo, we're going to drain the swamp. He didn't drain shit. Shit got worse. Shit got worse, bro. We're going to make America great again. America is not headed in the right direction. Right? Our children can't read. On a federal level, the Board of Education are endorsing curriculums that do not challenge our children. They don't teach the necessary. I have a child in school, so I know exactly what's going on, and I am not impressed. Not impressed with the curriculum. Now you're saying, yo, you got to take that with your local curriculum. Shut up. Shut your face. In order for the local Board of Education to even get the federal money, they have to abide by the federal expectations. So the framework is handed down. I'm not asking you. I'm not asking anyone in the chat to argue with me about this. I know what I know. So you're wasting your breath. So the local framework is influenced by the higher federal framework. So if they would adjust their framework, then the local Board of Education would adjust theirs. However, no one seems to care that our children are losing an edge, an intelligence edge that was once there. When I look at people like my grandfather who came home from World War II, these men were different, man. They just were different. They were good with their hands. Everyone you had to know something. You had to know electricity. You had to know mechanics. You had to know engineering. You had to know something. You had to know how to do something. And now we're not normalizing these expectations. My daughter's in the 8th grade. She got accepted to a university to start university now. So the whole time, she just started Sunday, right? Sunday night, we dropped her off at the university. Monday night, she's calling me, come pick me up, crying. This program's not for me. They expect me to be a college student. I'm not even in high school yet. You're going to high school. You're going to high school next year. Yeah, but I said, take a breather. Let's do a 4-breath count. Let's take it easy. Now, I hate to tell you I told you so, but your poppy, because that's what she calls me, your poppy was telling you, do the Khan Academy. Why do you think I was telling you to do the Khan Academy? You thought it was a punishment. I said, it's not a punishment. I'm preparing you for what you're about to go into, because clearly this school is not teaching you what they should be teaching you. So we have to make up for what they're not teaching you. I said, I'll do it with you. So I ended up doing the Algebra 1 with her, just so she could do it too, and she wouldn't feel alone. They put you in classrooms with all type of... when I was growing up, I was in something called a humanities class. That means everyone on my level of intellect was grouped together. Then, for some reason, and this is what I'm talking about, the framework, then they said that wasn't fair to the kids to the other kids. How isn't that fair? If you put me in a classroom with these kids, all they're going to do is spitballs. They're going to interrupt the class because they can't read, right? They don't want to get called on. And that's exactly what's happening. Every day I ask my daughter what happened in class today. Half of the period, the teacher's arguing with some kid that doesn't want to fucking learn. So you put my kid in this classroom with these people? What are you doing? And this is what I'm talking about. The framework comes from the federal government, right? Oh, we don't believe that heterogeneous and homogeneous. I think it's unfair if you put all the... You're discriminating. I'm discriminating? Because my child is has a higher IQ? Casual Love said the intelligence edge was with my generation, 1985 and present. Yeah. Keep it real. How many of your peers are using the futuristic tech promised all those years ago? I don't know if any of them was... I was in humanities, like I said, Casual Lovejoy. Not for nothing. I'm going to keep it real with you, Casual. I tried to fuck up my life and still ended up working for one of the top automation AI companies in New York City. This dude was a fucking billionaire. That's him right there, Lovejoy. Don't worry about what his name is. That doesn't matter. Just know he's a fucking billionaire. I worked for him. This is us on the yacht. Or getting on the yacht. Right? And he hired me at his company. I'm just from a small town in New York called Mount Vernon, New York, where I tried to fuck up my life. Out here doing silly shit in the street. Huh? Selling drugs, sticking guns in people's faces. Silly shit that I was conditioned around my environment. Hey, I'm not gonna go get a job. That would make too much fucking sense. And stay out the way. What are you, pussy? You gonna get a job? Gotta keep it real. Huh? So I don't know how many people else in my class, in my humanities classes, actually started to use this technology, but for some reason the universe said, no, you gonna skate through. So I ended up not going to jail. And I dragged my stupid ass back to school at 28 years old. 18, I tried college. I said, nah, this is not for me. 10 years, I went walkabout in the United States. I did all type of stupid shit. I worked for music, record labels, Jay-Z, MC Hammer, Rockefeller, Rough Riders. I worked for different record labels. And then I'm summing it up. You know, it's a long story, but I'll give you a short version. I ended up not liking where life was going and said, there's no way around this. You got to go back to school. You got to go back because they don't want to give you the things that you want without certain things. And it's, again, like I said at the beginning of my show, it's not about how you see the world. It's about how the world is. And that's just it. Right? So I said, I went back. I found my wife. And it was none of it was really fun. It beat my ass at 28, finishing a bachelor's. Then I finished that, I was 32. Then I started the master's program, and I had 2 goddamn full-time jobs. I was a security guard and a fucking desktop support. 16 hours a day I'm working. 12 midnight to 8, I'm a security guard. 9 to 5, I sleep for 1 hour. I could still feel the fucking pain sleeping in that chair for an hour. Then 9 to 5, I'm a desktop engineer. Then I rushed to New Jersey because that's where we're staying at my mother-in-law's house, who fucking hates me, to go pick up and take over for my daughter now, right? Because she's been watching my daughter all day until my wife comes home. You know how many times my wife walked in and the girl was watching me instead of me watching the girl? She's fucking 1 year old. She's on the bed just staring at me. Thank God she didn't fall off the bed. We do what we have to do in this here world. But it got better, right? The story got better. I just kept at it. Big Shit says, being in college before the internet made you have to learn and earn. Yo, Big Shit, I didn't know. When they said sweat, blood, and tears, I was a grown man crying because I couldn't figure out what my database teacher was talking about. And if I failed, I'm not going to get the master's degree, right? This guy is full on Chinese. Full on. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the accent. You know the accent, right? I'm like, why, bro? Why couldn't you just have a regular, standard New York fucking... I don't care that you're Asian. I don't know what you're talking about. They're threatening to fail me. And if I fail, my life don't change, and I need my life to change today, Jack. You don't understand. We are living in my mother-in-law's attic, bro. I gotta get the fuck out of here. That dude there, when I did graduate, they hired me the first month. In 30 days of me getting my master's degree, his company hired me. And he changed my title. They hired me as a service management admin. I don't even know what that is, right? All I know that Comcast was my client. And basically, if Comcast boxes go down, I'm supposed to bring them back up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had a contract with Comcast. He changes my title to cognitive engineer because he wants to prepare for the AI wave. We were already doing automations. So what I learned was, you know how many times I heard, yo, I ain't gonna never use this shit anyway. Why they teaching us this shit? Then I realized, listen to me and listen to me good, God damn it. Then I realized, oh, that's baloney. They're teaching you this math, right? And it's up to you if you use it or not. Because in all actuality, I did need that fucking math. And I was struggling to understand the code because I didn't understand math. Code is written in mathematics. Who was making most of the money? The fucking coders. Why? Because they understood the language of math. You have to understand algebra to even understand mathematics. You don't understand algebra, you don't understand code. Understand coding, not mathematics. You have to understand algebra to understand coding. If you don't understand algebra, you don't fully understand coding. That's where your opportunities are. So, I tell my daughter, don't come home with that bullshit about, yo, why are they teaching us this anyway? We're never going to use it. Just tell me what they're teaching you, and I will tell you if you need more of it, I'll let you know. And right now, they're not even giving you enough. They're not challenging you at all. They're not challenging you because they've already determined that they don't want a nation full of thinkers. They want a nation full of workers. So I have to challenge you, and it is not a punishment. Oh my God. That's exact. You just saying DB normalization is giving me anxiety, bro. I did not understand at all what this guy was talking about. Good. Let's go ahead and check. Oh boy. That's wild, bro. I was having a good time. What is going on? Are we back? They kicked a lot of people out. Alright. Let's see if we're back. Let's check with the chat. Yo, chat, are we back? Can anyone in the chat hear me? Let's. You back? Okay, Big Shit said we're back. Okay, I'm not even gonna start with the conspiracy theory. I'm not even gonna do it. That was wild though. That was so wild and crazy. Wow. Alright. I won't. Let's just continue on. The reality is we're not even close to really the end of the show because I didn't never get to the other stuff. Wow. I don't know why that happened. Alright. Now my thing is all thrown off. Dang, man. Let's get back to this.
Under normal circumstances, he will live for a long time, at least 10, 15 more years if he lives a natural life. But the Israelis, they're not very happy. They're not happy with this at all. Here's Mark Levin. He had a total and complete freak out. He says the president has now made very clear that the Iranian regime media's statement of the MOU terms is utterly bogus and that they better get their act together. This is why I kept insisting that we release the terms of the purported deal. Otherwise, we and the public have no idea what's actually going on. So he's like, what is actually going on? He keeps saying over and over, show us the deal, show us the MOU. Can we see it? Can we see it? Can we see it? He's been tweeting this out nonstop.
Okay, but who is Mark Levin? Is he a United States citizen? Right now, United States citizens have to worry about United States citizens. Right? So when we can clearly see that the owners of our media are not, they don't have the same appreciation for the United States. Only what they can get, only what they can drain from it. Right? Consumers. Contracts. Other than that, they don't bleed red, white, and blue. So who is Mark R. Levin anyway? And I don't have time to look him up. But bro, either you win this or against this. You either build or destroy. All of this rhetoric that American citizens need to see Israel as an extension of America is hogwash. It's what the Brits call shite. Right? Shite. Bullocks, if you will. Well, that's a load of bullocks. Yes, it's bullocks and shite.
Stop. And basically the president is not giving it to him. And I think that's actually quite interesting. Also, Ben Shapiro, this is what he has to say about the MOU he still has also not seen. He says, here's the amazing thing about written agreements. They are comprised of words we can all read and then form opinions about it. Really neat. So release the MOU text now. Don't keep it secret and then complain that people aren't trusting your version of events. So these guys.
Yeah, I don't. People like Ben Shapiro, these guys are not true patriot Americans. They're not. They don't even hide their their allegiance to Israel. And the time has been over for us of pretending that we don't understand the agenda, the motives of these pretenders. They pretend to be Americans because that's how easy it is, right? You get some citizenship and say, oh, well, I'm American too. Yeah, but you the different kind, Jack. Right? And in fact, you from a group of people that sold bullets to both sides during the war. Yeah, that's you. You didn't even pick a side during the Civil War. You chose to sell bullets to both sides, and that's who you are today. Someone who doesn't give a shit about America. You're the same people. You've never changed.
Claim to be Americans, but we can see that they're actually really truly Israelis, wanting to know the terms of their deal with their country, Israel and Iran. Here's Ben Shapiro and what he has to say about it.
Okay, this is the problem. This is why I am skeptical. So again,
this fucking mustache. Oy vey. If that is not a predator fucking stash. Oy vey. The Gargamel fucking eyebrows. That mustache tells me you have a rapist wit, right? That is crazy, Ben. What are you doing? Knock it off. Before you go on your rant, because he's great. He's a great rhetoric orator. He can talk. The boy can talk. I just think we should shrink Israel. Israel should either shrink or be eradicated at this point. And everyone goes their separate ways. You guys have figured it out. You figured it out in the past. They've kicked you out of countries. And you've landed on your feet. I think you'll land on your feet again.
and I think that there's not much in the 60-day memorandum. I think the memo of understanding is probably open-ended. I think it probably doesn't involve a lot of substantive discussion. I'm hopeful that essentially all it is the United States saying, listen, we're done here. We've done most of the damage we're willing to do. You want to mess around in the Strait of Hormuz, that's your business. The Europeans and the Chinese can take care of it. We're out. I'm hopeful that's what this is. And that basically there is no second step, because I think a second step would be quite bad. But we're not going to know until we see the text. The one thing I will say with regard to the president and the vice president and the signals they are sending, if you keep sending the signal to a terror-backing regime that chants death to America, that you want to deal with them so badly that you're going to tell our allies in the region to stand down, you are giving them an enormous amount of forward momentum. And that is a huge mistake that should not.
Shut up. You're not on anyone's military strategy board. You can barely keep the Daily Wire open and get views, Ben. Shut up, bro. Now, I do agree with some of the comments. People are saying, yo, it's not going to last. I don't think it's going to last either. Because Israel is not going to listen. I can get 60 days of not bombing and causing chaos. They have nothing else better to do. They don't export anything. They just sit and wait for us Americans to go to work. Right? We go to work. Taxes are taken out of our money. And they just say, listen, we need to borrow more money, America. Figure it out. Throw it in an infrastructure bill. Throw it in some grants. I don't give a shit what you do. We need some more money. And why America continues? Because our senators and our congressmen, for one, who are taking the AIPAC money are fucking treasonous. That's number one. You guys are traitors. Your first obligation and your first priority are American citizens, goddammit. And if you live in a county where these people are representing you and they're taking money, you need to threaten them. I bet you won't get back in there. Yeah, you could win for a lifetime, but you can lose too. Get your stupid ass right up out of office. Get some new blood in there, bro. Let's get some new blood. Let's promote some of these young people who are thinking differently. Let's not even put a name on it. Just hear what the person has to say. Don't force the person to be conservative, Republic. No. This is where we're running into all type of mistakes too, right? Because now you're telling the person to think inside this box right here. No. The thing about life is it's dynamic. It's always changing. And that is one of the problems in the United States. Even though it has been proven that we adapt and we evolve and adapt. That is the dynamic change that I'm talking about. The people who govern us and the elite, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a difficult word. It just won't pop in my head right now. The elite capitalists. So you have the people who govern, the politicians. It appears they're shaking hands and doing deals with the elite capitalists. And that together they're suppressing our evolution. So we're being forced to reutilize the same resources that have been making these families monies over and over again. And they have us suspended in a virtual time. It's, that's just the way I'm going to say it. It's not conspiratory, but what I'm suggesting is that we could be way further. When we look at China and we say, "Oh man, they seem so much more advanced," it's because we have been purposely suppressed so that these people can continue to make money off of the legacy ways they have been making money.
Be done. And I hope that the president does not do that. Again, that signing ceremony in Switzerland should be canceled. It should not happen. A picture of the vice president standing next to an IRGC cutout like Mohammed Khalibaf is not something the United States should be celebrating. It is not a good idea.
Mike Huckabee, who's supposed to be the ambassador from the United States to Israel, says, he goes on to say this. He says, fortunately, Secretary Rubio made it clear that Iran and Hezbollah aren't linked to a deal. Israel doesn't need Iran's permission to defend itself. The tether of terror must end. So he forgets that, he should be celebrating the fact that the U.S. has come to a deal with Iran, and he should be saying, "Oh, great, the president's so great, he's a peacemaker." And instead he's saying, "Well, fortunately, Israel's not really bound to this deal when it comes to Lebanon, so they could continue to slaughter Lebanon and continue to go after them." That is what Mike Huckabee is saying. What's interesting is that reportedly the U.S. government is not allowing Netanyahu or anyone in the Israeli government, they're not letting them see the deal. Here is Guy Azriel. He is a commentator, somebody who gets a lot of inside information. And he says, "I can now confirm that Israel formally requested access to the Iran MOU and was denied. A remarkable and highly unusual development between close allies on an issue of such critical national security importance." Or maybe Trump finally realized they're not my ally. They said it was going to be a quick war. I decided, okay, fine, I'll go into it because I wanted another victory. I mean, they must have just sold him a bag of rocks, and he went for it. They said it was coal that would turn to gold, and he went for it only to find out he just was literally sold lava rocks. And now he's realizing, I've got to get out of this war, and I'm not going to let Israel deter it. But here's the thing. Israel will do whatever Israel needs to do to deter it, and that could be very, very scary. Let me just show you this. This is Ari Ben Menashe, He's a former Israeli intelligence officer, and he says what we can expect to see here soon is Benjamin Netanyahu is about to release some Epstein files. This would be the least of Trump's worries in my...
This is what it's all about. And what Trump has to do, I don't know what you did, Trump. I don't know what you did, bro. And I'm not saying I understand, because clearly I don't understand you giving any man a BJ. But if you had the courage to give a man a BJ, then at this point, bro, I'm going to keep it real with you. It's not that I'm going to look any less of you. I'm just going to consider you gay, and I'm not going to consider you any less of a person, though. Right? I know gay men. I don't run around shaking their hands like, oh, cooties. I don't. We're all mature here. Whatever you do in your sanctity of your, because it's not like you're doing whatever you do in front of my eyeballs, right? It's not like you're ringing my bell and like, yo, Jamel, check this shit out, and doing that shit on my ring cam. You're in the privacy of your own goddamn house, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. You're allowed to do whatever you do, wherever you do it. It's your bunghole. Keep it 1,000 with you. So, when you're done doing whatever you're doing, and we have to work together, I can still take your advice. If you're my superior, I can still follow orders. Why? Because I can compartmentalize life, right? I don't need to be like, oh, who the fuck are you? You can't tell me shit. You suck dick. That is neither here or there. This person is your supervisor. So that's not me. I also understand the embarrassment that you may feel. Like I said, that's going to be hard. You know, that's what she said. No time for jokes. Melania's going to be devastated. She's pretty, right? That's probably the last thing you got from Epstein. You'll never get another one like that unless Epstein's come out of retirement. He's running around fucking Israel as we speak. I heard Maxine is in Canada. Whatever. These are conspiracies, right? Either way, your sons may look at you crazy. I think your daughter will forgive you. And you could just say some shit, whatever you guys say. Oh, that's me when I was in my younger days. What? Say some shit, whatever. But I think the admirable thing to do at this point, as much as you bigged up America, you gotta do the right thing, Trump. I know they caught you out there, Playboy. I know, but you gotta just say fuck it, bro. Blame it on AI. They're gonna release it. Just blame that shit on AI. Oh, clearly these bitches are doctored. Huh? As you can see, this guy has his left hand on the shaft. I'm right-handed, people. This shit is... Huh? What are we talking about? Are we still talking about this? I'm right-handed. If it doesn't fit, you must quit. And everyone's just going to forget about that shit. Probably not me. I'm probably still going to make jokes because I'm a smart ass. Right? That's my job, to remember shit and throw it in your face later. However, I won't be immature about it. Damn, Trump. And look, just like we thought, Netanyahu already got the threatening, yo, I'm going to release some Epstein files because we know how you motherfuckers get down, right? Yeah. He didn't even wait. That motherfucker said, oh, okay, that's how you want to play? We knew that. We knew what you was going to do, big ass ears Netanyahu. We knew what you was going to do.
This would be the least of Trump's worries, in my opinion.
If there's a real deal between the Americans and the Iranians, and it's going towards that, Netanyahu will try to sabotage it. One of the ways he'd sabotage it is by putting out Epstein material against U.S. government officials, including Trump. And he put it out there. New material that wasn't seen before in public.
So it's not just Trump. I know that Howard Lutnick is mentioned. There are other officials.
And not just Trump, other officials too.
This is sad, people. So Israel, the fucking scumbags that they are admitting that, hey, we have shit on you. So you have to, I don't care if it ruins your country. I don't care if what we're asking you to do erodes the fabric of what's left of the skeleton country that you have. Either do this or we're going to out everybody. Right? So what I'm asking everybody that watches my show, think twice before you get all emotional about these stories that they put in your face. They're doing it to trigger you. You're getting up here and you're talking shit about black people as if we all are the same, right? I usually don't pay these people any mind because I've learned I'm probably doing better in life than even the people that's making these fucking comments. It doesn't make sense for me to do. However, the same with the black people. You're asking for what wasn't fair. Oh, no, they give him a hard. I keep hearing they give him a harsh deal, man. Okay, what would have been a good deal for taking someone's life? No, because if he was black, if he was white, he wouldn't have got that time. Answer my fucking question. What would have been a good deal for taking someone's life? Are you predicating your answer on whether he was white or black? Well, there lies the inhumanity right there. If it was your brother, it was your father, how much time do you think he would have got if you would have stabbed your father in the heart because your father put his hands on this young boy and Al ate at a Walmart? Would you have been kicking that same, my father shouldn't have never put his hands on him? Or would you be riding around the city looking to kill one of his relatives? This is sad, bro. But I'm glad it's all coming out. And I'm glad Israel is once again, not for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You can might as well just skip. Over 100 times these people, these groups of people who they gave a fucking state to, have been kicked out of other countries. And exposed for who they really are. Who are not good people. Not good people. I've read some of their religious books, their literature. Ah! Oy vey! Are you kidding me? Is this how you feel? Am I the Goyim that you're talking about? Whoever the Goyim is in this book, you guys don't care for at all. And I think I'm the fucking goyim along with everybody else. This is sad.
Yes. And he'll try to sabotage the whole negotiation and deal that would be that they're trying to make to get.
So we might be seeing some Epstein files. There might actually be some transparent release, but it'd be done by the Israelis because they're the ones holding on to the actual blackmail. So of course they have it all, and they've just been waiting for the opportunity to release it, and now they just might, in order to get Trump to do whatever it is they want him to do. Trump has tanked in...
I'm with Robert Frug on this. Robert Frug says Netanyahu's a blood-sucking war criminal. Facts. That's my opinion. Facts. This guy needs to be dealt with.
The polls in Israel, look at these numbers. This was him just 3 weeks ago in the blue.
But they're dangerous people. Don't think for 1 second that Taylor Robinson guy that they said killed Charlie Kirk. These are dangerous fucking people we're dealing with. And the more fuel you give them, they don't understand. They're making it. You don't want to give these people leverage on this planet. I stand by that. These are the wrong people to give fucking leverage to. I'm telling you. Yeah, maybe Hitler went around about shit the wrong way. Maybe he needed to adjust his strategy a little bit, right? I mean, everybody else just kicked him out the country, Hitler. You didn't have to. He went to the extreme. You didn't have to go to the extreme, bro. Because what you didn't conceive is that they would kill their own just for a story to tell. And then utilize that and say, I told you we needed a land of our own. Yo, go back to fucking Khazarian Mountains. Go back to the Caucasus Mountains. What's up with that? There's plenty of prime real estate out there. Huh? Open land. Use your money that you've accumulated and import fucking soil. That would have been the wise thing for you to do, like the Saudis did with Dubai. Imported the fucking sand. Now, that's a lot of money. You got so much money that you could import fucking sand? And build a whole new region of Earth? Woof. Now, let's talk about this. Trump support in Israel flipped in 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, positive 58, negative 35. I don't even believe this. I believe this poll is shit. Because I'm going to keep it real with you. Most of the Americans that I speak to are not in no support for no goddamn Israel. They're making it seem like, oh, many of us are on board. No, many of us are not on fucking board. And we're not even close to being in the same demographics. There's plenty of white families who are not on board with this type of shenanigans. I dare say most black families are not in support of this tomfoolery. Stop acting like we mostly agree to give our money. This is money that we have to pay back, that they're not even trying to pay back. That's the thing. So you're borrowing. When I say pay back, you borrow from these private banks via the Federal Reserve as a proxy. That bill goes up. And then we all know the bill has to get paid. So you keep taking money out of our taxes. You're not even attempting to pay off the debt. You just keep borrowing. No, America's out of hand, people. It's out of hand. And I would ask, before we get emotional about racial stories, we stay reminded, if we were to fight together, everyone that came through this country the legal way, were born here legally, that believes in work and raising a family, civility, and society. There's plenty of us, no matter what country, no matter what the origin of our nation, our race. Once we become a citizen, there's plenty of us that believe we just want a place to work, some time to spend money and time with our family, crack some jokes, laugh, raise a family. There's plenty of us. That wish just spans across mostly all the demographics. That's the one thing we have in common. And then we have these people, these think tanks down here working effortlessly to get us not to work together, get us to separate us. They work effortlessly to separate us. And after watching what they present us with, I can't really fault either side for hating the other side, right? If every day on the news as a white person, I turn on my TV and I see some young black kid in a Nike tech suit doing some stupid shit, carjacking. That's the only place they showing. They're not showing you nothing else. They just keep showing you the same black kid. He got dreads. He looks ridiculous out here on the news. But you getting up, you going to work, and you watch this shit every day. You don't understand that it's a tool to get you to start to think just how you thinking, right? In the same case, they're going to definitely keep showing you a white cop who shot a black kid, and then he's going to get off, and the black people are going to get outraged. So now they hate white people. You still getting away with shit. White people suggesting, hey, maybe we shouldn't teach the history because it's making our kids feel guilty. Then the government says, yeah, I'm on board with that. Let's not teach the heinous acts that we've done. It's only going to lead to bad things. So we're not going to teach about how we lynched black men and then ate their fucking bodies and wore their skin as garments, because it sounds sadistic. We don't want to put that out there. No, it sounds sadistic because it fucking was sadistic. We're gonna keep it 1,000 with you. They control the narrative because they learn that they can control your emotions through your perception of what you hear and what you see. Then what they have done was they decided, we're going to award you if you want to play a little game. Let's play a game of social media. If you can get the most attention, you win. We give you money. That's a big game. Running Man. Right? So now they're normalizing brain rot. That's why I said I'm surprised they let you over here this morning, because even though they did shut down my show, I don't know who the fuck did that. But I do have a smart TV, which is on. Maybe they just went in and shut that shit down, bro. I don't know. It never usually does that. It did it today. Whatever. But they're endorsing and they're supporting brain rot. So what I'm telling you, everyone that's listening to me today, you have to take the initiative to set the tone in your family. Regroup, reset, reprioritize, because something's coming. And you're going to need your head in the game when it gets here.
He was 58% positive, 35% negative in Israel. Now that has flipped. He's now 38% positive in Israel and 61% negative. So they're very, very upset about this recent deal. Here is Conceptual James, another American who seems to support Israel much more than America. But he says, this is James Lindsay. He says, a serious problem Trump faces now is that many, many people feel deeply betrayed by him, especially people who support Israel. Betrayal is an emotional experience, not a logical one. It cannot be fixed by logic, and its damage is usually never undone, he says. And he's probably one of these people because he's been totally and completely supporting Israel. But just listen to his statement. I mean, this is the fundamental problem. He says, Trump faces a serious problem. Many people feel deeply betrayed, especially people who support Israel. Okay, what about the people who support America? Because remember, that's your country, supposedly. Remember, that's who Trump is actually the president of, America, not Israel. So who cares what people think who support Israel? We need to be supporting America. And ending the war with Iran is good for America.
He says a serious problem Trump faces now is that many, many people feel deeply betrayed by him, especially who support Israel. No, James Lindsay. James Lindsay, you are a treasonous bastard. Let me just put that out there, James Lindsay. You are a treasonous bastard. Not because you're white. No one cares about that shit. That's not even on the list. It's not. I can't say that. That's the last. No, it's not even on the list. The color of your skin. Fuck that. You are. If you are a citizen of the United States, you using your platform to spew rhetoric like this is treasonous. No one feels betrayed. Not Americans. Not true Americans. We felt betrayed because he wasn't doing the things that we voted for him to do. Draining the swamp, making America first. You cannot make America first by giving enormous amounts of money to foreign countries. It doesn't work like it does not work like that. You cannot make America first by taking our young men and women who enlisted to protect this country and put them on the front line for frivolous business that is not even America's interest. Right? So you have young boys and women out there in the front line fighting to expand the territory in the region of Israel for the Greater Israel product, Greater Israel project, and you feel that this is making America great again? Are you stupid? It's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Now let's just go ahead and go over what the deal may or may not be. This is from Al Arabiya. In English, they say that they have obtained the 14-point draft of the MOU, and I think a lot of it is what we've already seen before, what we were reporting on yesterday. But the number one is Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States, together with their allies in the current war, declare upon the signing of this memorandum of understanding an immediate and permanent end to the war on all fronts, including Lebanon, and undertake that from now on they will not launch any hostile action against each other and will refrain.
I'm going to tell you right now, Israel is going to sabotage this fucking deal. They are addicted to attacking Lebanon. They cannot not attack Lebanon. Right? So what Trump has to do is says, yo, if you attack them, you're on your own. Right? That Iron Dome shit doesn't work. Clearly, your Iron Dome is shite. Huh? It's made out of cow dung. Bullocks. The Iranians found a loophole right around that shit. They was prepared for your silly ass Iron Dome. Oh, the confidence you had in your Iron Dome. Thinking that these ancient Persians were fucking imbeciles and primitive beings. This is the same empire. This is the ancient Persian Empire we're talking about. You know how many battles and wars they've been through? Huh? Didn't they have your people in captivity? God damn it. Then they released you. They didn't have to release you. They could have kept you like the Assyrians kept you and the Babylonians kept you. This is where your bullshit rhetoric got all turned around. You didn't know who you were serving. A moon god? You don't know who you were serving by the time they got done with you. And what did the Persians do? They said, all right, you can go back. They defeated the Babylonians and said, you can go back to where you go, run off, go. Enjoy life, go. And this is the thanks they get. Instead of wiping your ass out right then and there, this is the thanks they get. Even though I'm saying this and you're not part of the fucking Hebrews anyway. You are a made up faction of these people. That story is made up. And you are a made up version of that story. So me explaining this is asinine in the first place because you are running around stealing another people in history's identity whose story is already fabricated. So this story is insane from beginning to end. So soup to nuts. It's fucking insane.
From the threat or use of force against each other. The final agreement will confirm the provisions of this article and remaining articles. So all
right. Well, that's that. John says, yeah, people think Israel should not have the right to defend themselves. No, they should defend themselves. Just do it on your own. John, if I pick a fight, John Patrick, say I pick a fight, right? What up, Kenny Mac? Suppose I pick a fight, John Patrick, and I look up your IP address right now. I'm like, all right, I know where this motherfucker lives, right? And then I pick a fucking fight, and then I drive all the way to your house, and you're like, Saladin, what are you doing here? I'm like, fuck all that shit. I got into some stupid shit. I need you to come help me. You're like, bro, what? Yo, are you coming or are you not? Like, wait, what happened? Oh, I didn't like how this guy was fucking looking at me. So I gave him a bump. And then this motherfucker had the nerve to hit me back. Oh, you think I'm pussy? Wait, what? Yo, I ain't nobody's sucker. Wait, you started it. Yeah, because I didn't like how he was looking at me. I have the right to do whatever I want, John. I don't need to drag you in it. Now, suppose, John, you are stupid enough to come outside and was like, fuck it, bro. Let's ride. and we get over there and you get killed. Now, your wife is looking at me like, what the fuck? And she's looking at you too, crazy, John. She's looking at you crazy too. Like, why'd you go outside with this guy? Do you fucking know this guy? Point is, John, you should have never came outside with me because it wasn't your fucking fight. You didn't start this. You didn't start this. And the point is, Israel, if you want to expand some shit, because the size of Israel is the size of New Jersey. So you feel like, we need to expand. You don't need to expand. What you need to do is learn how to sustain without another country's foreign aid. How about that? Can we start with the logical shit? Can you just do that? Can you figure out how to sustain on this globe without anyone else's help? How much fucking help do you need? We helped you start this state in 1948. How much help do you need? And every time I give you help, you do not do resourceful things with it. You do the most preposterous things with it. Things that I don't agree with. Things like genocide. I don't agree with the shit you're doing with the funds. No, they definitely have a right to defend themselves, but keep us out of your stupid shit that you start. I don't not believe that you don't have the right to defend yourself. I believe that you shouldn't even have a fucking state. You're not mature enough for a state. That's what I believe. I believe you're the worst people to be given a fucking state. All right. Well, YouTube kicked out most of the people that was in here. That's fucking crazy. We was rocking too. They kicked us out. And I've been here for 3 hours. I doubt I even get to the Y chromosome. I don't even know if I want to do another hour. It's already 11:30. I got other shit to do. I did want to get to the Charleston White. How about this? Because it did take up way more time than I thought it was going to take up. How about we just resume tomorrow and I will fit in. DSK says, it is my job to support my fellow Americans. Yeah, my fellow Americans, right? I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. But I'm not on board with sacrificing our young children who sign up for the military to defend this country, and then their life is being put on the line for, quite frankly, missions that are not worth their life at all. It's not in the defense of America. That has nothing to do with the defense of America. John Patrick, you're wild. You're a wild boy, John Patrick. If you are even a real person. But let's just say this guy, John Patrick, is a real person. They're going to learn the hard way. They're going to learn the hard way. Right? Sometimes, John, you got to trust people when they show you who they are. So unless you are a Jew, John Patrick, which that's not a Jewish name, then you're a fucking goyim, bro. You're a goyim. So what I would suggest is stop kissing Goyim, stop kissing Jewish ass. They're never gonna accept you. You're gonna be a fucking Goyim, blood. That's it. Me, you, and you cannot trust them. That's clear from their efforts, from just watching them, how they maneuver, what they do, their history. You can't trust them. They say the proof is in the pudding and action speaks louder than words. Then show me you can sustain on your own. Show me you can sustain without trying to take over another country and expanding it. You're trying to take over fucking Persia, bro. Like, what are you doing? I can't. Can't, man. Alright, let's just end the show. Subscribe to the show if you want to come back tomorrow. Right? I'll make sure I come back 8:30 and we could build some more, but more than likely tomorrow I'm going to be talking on. We didn't get to Charleston White and why he flipped the script. And now it's going against Carmelo Anthony. We didn't get to that. We didn't get to the Y chromosome. Maybe, you know what? I would say I'll come back on tonight, this afternoon. I don't know. Let me look at the Google Analytics. If they say it's a good time this afternoon, I might come back on. And we can rock out with the Charleston White business, right? We'll do that. And then we'll hold... I don't know. Robert Fuge says, maybe I speak now. Speak, bro. Speak. Get busy. I got a couple of minutes for you guys to finish your conversation. Let me find some exiting music to leave with. I'll let you guys finish that conversation. Why would you say silence you, John? John, have I silenced you in the past? He says, here just discouraged by my freedom of speech. It sounds like I'm surprised you haven't silenced me yet. Why, bro? Bro, I don't silence. First of all, it's usually not me silencing you. It's usually someone with a wrench on the channel that doesn't like what you're saying. But I try to influence them not to do that, right? I know who's kind of quick with the silence button. And I say, nah, leave them. I want people to speak that don't agree with me. I want you to speak. The people I personally kick off my channel is people looking for attention, coming over. You just want attention, right? You're not even a true racist. I can appreciate a true racist, right? At least he has some type of theory behind why he don't fuck with me, and he's telling me, hey, I don't fuck with you because of this, right? I'm gonna let him speak. It's the person who, they just want attention. They're craving for attention. I just boot them off the channel for a lifetime. Hey, don't come back over here again. You got to pick a side. So I look at the world different. I don't look at it like, yo, you don't agree with me, then fuck you. No. Because we can't have a dialogue like that. We can't have a conversation like that. So I'm not gonna silence you over here. One of the other people, but I tell them not to do that. Just because you don't agree with the person don't mean that you silence them. Let them talk. Now, if they start interrupting the show, ad hominem attacks for no reason, if they start advertising a lot with shit that has nothing to do with the show, then you got to shut them down. But usually they just shut you down for a couple of minutes and then you're allowed to talk again. There's no beef over here, Johnny. He says, think about it though. Why should an Israeli have to live in a country where Islamists are sending bombs every single day at them in order to... No, John. I didn't say they should have to live like that. But, John, you think about it. Why would you move to a country where your surrounding neighbors are majority Muslim? Does that make sense? Why would I move in a neighborhood of all white people knowing there's a chance they may not appreciate my ass there? Because if they did, I wouldn't be the only fucking black person in this community. Right? Then I want to change shit up. Let me tell you something right now what's going to happen. By the third fucking family, those white people going to be like, nah, you're not going to move into this neighborhood and turn this neighborhood black. That's just what's going to fucking happen. That's just what's going to happen. You know why? Because this earth and the reality is not how we wish it to be. It just is what it is. So I think it is delusional of you, not of me, to want to agree with you that they should have moved there in the first fucking place. And now you're asking, well, why should they have to live like that? They shouldn't. What they should do is say, fuck it. We're moving the state of Israel to the Caucasus Mountains so that there could be peace. Why would you move somewhere knowing it ain't going to be goddamn peace, and now you're trying to force everybody to be a fucking Jew? Are you shitting me? Go back to where you came from, which is not the Levant, because you have no connection to the fucking Jews. No genetic connection at all. At all. So, John, either you want to have a bullshit conversation or you want to have a real deal conversation, because I don't got my small violins on me. Otherwise, I will break them shits out for you, playboy. You know what I'm saying? Why should I live in a state being attacked by Islamic supremacists? Because you live in an area that's dominated by Muslim rule. Who the fuck told you to move there, you jackass? Let's keep it real, John. The decision to create the area, the state of Israel, was predicated on geopolitics. Right? Britain and America thought they was so fucking smart by putting them there. So this Greater Israel Project, you're not fooling anybody, bro. You're not fooling anybody. It would have been better off for the whole world if you would have chose another area. Now you don't like that you're in that area. If look, John, stop the bullshit. Christians and Muslims, they haven't been getting along, right? Jews and Muslims, they've been having their differences. Why would you put them so close together? Here we go. No, it goes back 4,000 years in biblical times when God assigned the Jewish people that nation, and it's called their own. John, you're barking up the wrong tree. John, are you talking about Yahweh? John, you are barking up the wrong tree, my boy. Because I don't know what book you read. But Yahweh was never part of the pantheon. If we open up Deuteronomy, the sons of God were promised land. The sons of God was promised land. If we open up Deuteronomy, Jonathan, I don't know if you want to go down this road with me, Playboy. If we open up Deuteronomy, the sons of God were promised land. Yahweh was promised Jacob's seed. Jacob's seed was not a nation. You need borders to have a nation. Jacob's seed was a people, Jonathan. Oh, I don't need to Google shit, bro. You talking to someone who's very educated, Jonathan. I don't know whose show you think you popped up on spewing propaganda. But the words that are coming out of my mouth can be proven. That's number one. That's number one. So don't give me no biblical shit, Jonathan. Yeah, Google's... Go to Google. Don't give me no biblical shit. Let's stay... Fuck Google. Let's start off with the fact that Elohim is plural. And that the text you're referring to refers to the Elohim numerous of times. Not only does it refer to the Elohim, it explicitly states a divine council. A divine council in which the Most High gave out land, nations. And guess who was not on that fucking list, Jonathan? I'm telling you, you could go look this up right now. You could take what I'm telling you right now to the bank, goddammit. Because clearly you don't know who you talking to or what the fuck you're talking about. And I do. Yahweh was never promised land. He was promised Jacob's seed. So there was no Israel. And furthermore, there were several gods in this Elohim, because back then they had God states. So you can go to another nation and there's a totally different God. Yahweh was just one fucking radical God that popped up out of nowhere. And in my opinion, this Yahweh was a terrorist just like they fucking are. Because when you read the instructions of this Yahweh, he was a terrorist. He's telling these people, go in there, take their land. And all you can say to me is, no, because the Canaanites were evil people. Well, what the fuck does that make you if he's telling you to go in there, kill their children, kill their neighbors, take their wives and their women, rape? Rape. This is the books that they're reading. So, again, I don't have my small violins. It goes back 4,000 years to God. Which God? Which fucking God? Please enlighten me. Which God? Mind you, again, there's no genetic connection to these Ashkenazi Jews to the people back then. So I'm very curious for you to tell me which fucking guy. So you want to play around with the evidence. But if you was to analyze what you're really talking about and get your head out of your ass and stop pretending, then you have to come to the conclusion that this is all bullocks. Right, Leon. Right. The Jews, Israel are not the Jews. They're not even the people from Judea. Judea. They have no blood, but they have no genetic connection to the people of Judea. Canaan. Palestine. The name was changed three times, Jonathan. It was changed 3 times. I'm telling you where these people who now reside there in that area are from. They originate from Khazaria. Exactly, Didi. I know that. I know that. No, they don't, Yaakov. Shut up. You're spreading propaganda. I have evidence from your own goddamn scientists, Yaakov. I'm not sitting up here saying things. Yaakov, if you've been sitting up here listening to me, then clearly you're not dealing with an uneducated man, Yaakov. So I don't have time to spew things that I have not researched, sir. So I don't appreciate you coming over here with your misinformation and your disinformation about the so-called fucking Ashkenazi Jews. It is what it is, sir. It's already been proven. You guys don't have any fucking connection genetically to these people. You're liars. And the story is made up, too. John says whether you like it or not. It's not about me to like it or not, John. You said whether you like it or not. It's not about me liking it or not. It belongs to the Jews. It will never be taken away from them ever again. It is about your polarity levels being on the side of zealotness, right? So you're being a zealot because you cannot take information and rightfully divide it. Right? Because you're already polarized. It's not about me. It's more about you dealing with your reality. Or dealing with reality, period. You're polarized right now. You need a yoga instructor. You need to learn some 4 breath counts. Huh? You need to stretch that shit out, bro. You are what we call a zealot. You can't take information and deal with it. Later, Roby. John says, no, I'm a human being who wants to protect other human beings, including Jewish people. Stop right there. John, if you wanted to protect Jewish people, the first thing you would do is say, okay, let's recognize that the story that you guys are living by was plagiarized, number one, from an older civilization. Again, John, you're out your league. You're delusional. You're giving off zealotness, right? You're so extreme and wrong at the same time. No matter how you swing the bat, the so-called Jews, Hebrews, allegedly were in captivity for a very long time under different empires. So what you have is a cultural simulations and blending. They didn't even write down what happened. Can you honestly expect these people to be in captivity for 800 years under another empire, only passing off the history through oral tradition? And then the same Iranians that they're trying to kill now, which were then called Persians, that freed them and said, hey, go about your business. Go figure out your lives. When they did go try to figure out their lives, you know what they did? They bickered then about how they should be putting the pieces back together. So you know what they did? They took other people's fucking stories and started piecing them back together. John, you have to wake up, not me. Everything that I'm telling you is correct. Everything that you believing and you're spewing on my channel is disoriented and just emotional rhetoric. Everything I'm telling you, you can actually look up and you'll be like, God damn, he was right. You just need to have lunch by yourself, bro. Think about what I'm telling you today. And say, let me just look up what Saladin is talking about. Because I know he's lying. Santiago, what's good with you, bro? I know he's lying. And if you really want to grow as a person, you would not be scared to find out the truth. Don't hide behind repetitive, nonsensical rhetoric, because that's all this is. He said, I have never heard you speak out yet against Islam. Oh, that's what you're waiting for? That's immature. That's the same thing that these black people were saying about Carmelo Anthony. Oh, if it was a white person who did this, that's essentially what you're saying to me. Well, why don't you speak out against Islam? We're not talking about Islam. The Iranians are not the ones who wanted war with anyone. They didn't want war with Israel. It was the Israelis who said, fuck that. Let's start a war with them. So why would my conversation be focused on the Muslims? When it is time for me to talk about the Muslims, I will talk about the Muslims as I have. But we're not talking about the Muslims. I have no religion, Jonathan. None. I don't believe in your God or theirs. Moses is an Egyptian name. Right? Terah, Abraham's father, came from fucking Iraq. Ur of the Chaldees. You guys are fucking uneducated and you're just easily tricked. Because you're not gonna do the knowledge. Right? God forbid you research what the fuck you believe in. God forbid. The guy in the white coat said, wow. John says, you don't have to believe in my God or their God, but all you have to know is that Israel will never be destroyed. Israel is a people, you jackass. The state of Israel just existed in 1948. Israel before that was a group of fucking random gypsies, bro. What are you talking about? And by the way, just so you know, when you break down those syllables, it is Israel. All different gods and goddesses. Isis, Amun-Ra, and El, the Canaanite god. It's all fucking fallacy, bro. Knock it off. Do some research, bro. What do you want to know about your God? I'll tell you about your God. Who's your God? So I can tell you about your God. I don't have to believe in your God. I don't. You tell me your God, and I'll tell you when they people started believing in your fucking God. And this planet has been here for over 1 million years. And I will tell you exactly when they started believing in your fucking God. A microscopic time, so small and insignificant, we shouldn't even count it. And you're going to tell me about your God. Little Foots was good with you, player. He said Odin. Damn. Scandinavian god Odin. I like Odin. But Odin is just a different version of Zeus. But I like Odin. But then that one would be easier because all you have to do is research the people who believe in Odin, right? And they don't go back that far. Not as far as the Sumerians or definitely not the Egyptians. Jesus kicked out. I like that. Don't get me wrong. The reason is it. Let me be honest with you. I don't talk. I'm not just gonna get up here and talk shit about your God, right? But when I have to put people in their perspective, because a lot of people don't research their God. I'm never trying to convince you not to have a God, right? But when you're talking like your God is better than someone else's, then I feel like, all right, let me just put you in your fucking place, right? But so the goal is never to get you to stop believing in your God, right? Is there things that I can take from these characters, even though I don't think they were God? I study Jesus, and there's things that I say, okay, I want to take this from this story, right? I could probably do that with a lot of them. I don't usually do that because most of the gods are like this, very similar in a lot of ways. But the way they designed the character Jesus is just that you could walk away with things that you can apply to your life. They're applicable, right? I'm not letting you slap me across the cheek and giving you my other cheek to slap. Like, let's not get stupid. But there's a certain amount of compassion there that I think you probably should have, right? So everything, the whole idea of Jesus is just a remembrance of, it's like an allegory. So he went through a certain time period where he went through suffrage, right? 40 days in the wilderness where he's tempted. It's not that I actually believe that story happened, but I can remind myself it's an allegory for life. You're going to have ups and downs in this life, and it's going to be during those times that you're going to be tempted the most, right? If you ever been married, there's times where you and your spouse are not on the same page. You may not even be speaking like that. You're going through something. And that is the time that some woman that's attracted you at work all of a sudden is showing all her teeth, or some man at your job is all of a sudden very helpful. Well, these are the times that you can start to revert back to this here book that has been compiled together to remind you of the things that keep happening on this planet. It's like a guide will, remember what happened. So you could take these stories and apply it to your life, and the more you do that, the more you remember them, and it's like a guideline. I don't need a religion to do that, right? I need a moral compass to do that. I don't need you to scare me and tell me I'm going to go to hell, right? So I may not believe in some of you guys as gods, but I may appreciate some of the things. Yahweh was a maniac. He was a Yahweh, and he wasn't written in the will. He was out. Yahweh was a maniac, just point and plain, right? And it shows today. And that's how I feel about it. All right, meet me here tomorrow, 8:30. And we'll have another great show. All right. Listen, guys, you guys take care. Thank you so much for coming through for your boy. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace and blessings. All right. I'm out of here.